receiver from the Steelers, from the Colts. And Marlon Mack has had a great year this year. Even though the Steelers have been very tough against running backs, I think that Marlon Mack could still have a decent game. I think he's more in that kind of running back 2, that running back probably 12 to 20 range in terms of what should be expected from him this week against the Steelers defense. They have a very good run defense, so I think the Colts could play pretty well in this one. It all depends on how much offense the Steelers can generate against the Colts defense. Rudolph, the Colts are about in the same boat in terms of how much they give up to the running back position. So Samuels it might be Snell, depending on whether or not he is healthy for this game. Samuels could still, because of his ability to catch ball in the backfield, still be in for a solid game against the Colts. Rudolph is going up against a team that gives up the 18th most fantasy point, very middle of the road against quarterback, middle of the road against wide receivers. But they're another team that give up a lot of points to the tight end position. So I could see Rudolph dumping off a lot to Vance McDonald. I think he is the guy that I like the most in terms of the tight ends in this game. I think that Juju and Deontay Johnson are really the 1-2 punch in terms of the wide receivers there. For me, I still see the Steelers winning this game. I think it's close. I think this will be a close one. I think this one could be a little more on the lower scoring side. I would go 17-14 Steelers over the Colts.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll go 20-17 with the Colts over the Steelers. There'll be a little debate for us later on down the road. Let's go the opposite way and see what happens. One of us is going to win, right? 2 more games.
Yep.
New England, Baltimore, another AFC elite matchup. This one's really interesting. What's your take?
Yeah, this is interesting because, again, we're talking about a Ravens defense that's been or Ravens offense that has been pretty dangerous for some defenses. And really a lot of that is Lamar Jackson. I want to say as of through week 7, I haven't seen the stats after week 8, but through week 7, Lamar Jackson had more rushing yards than 9 teams. He himself had more rushing yards than 9 teams. And so, again, we're talking about going up against the Patriots defense that is number 1 in terms of giving up fantasy points, the least amount of fantasy points to quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, and the second least to tight end. So this could be a very tough game for the Ravens offense. I still like Lamar Jackson to put up low-end quarterback 1 numbers because of his running ability. The fact that he is as mobile as he is, compared to other quarterbacks that the Patriots have faced, the only other really mobile quarterback that they have faced was this past week in Baker Mayfield, who really isn't all that mobile of a quarterback either. So Lamar Jackson just provides such a different dynamic that I think that he could still provide some fantasy value. In terms of the Patriots, the Baltimore defense hasn't necessarily been one to fear, especially in the passing game, giving up the 12th most amount of fantasy points to the wide receiving position. So I think this is still a good game for Edelman. I still would put right now Philip Dorsett over Mohamed Sanu in terms of fantasy relevance. And James White, I think, is, again, going to benefit more in this game just because of his ability to catch the ball in the backfield. Plus, he also runs the slot every once in a while. So, Tom Brady, I think, is a low-end quarterback 1 for this one. James White, I think, will be the better running back play fantasy-wise. And Edelman, obviously, is going to be a good choice here. So, I think, obviously, I hate doing this. I really hate saying it. But I have the Patriots winning this one. I pretty much always hate saying that I think the Patriots are going to win. So, I'll put this one at 24-17 in favor of the Patriots.
Yeah, I see the Patriots being way too much for the Ravens as well. I really do. I mean, this team's unbeaten. They're the defending Super Bowl champs. They're on a roll no matter what their supporting cast is. I think Baltimore gives them a game, but again, 32-21 is where I'm at with New England. I'm going to add another game to what I originally was going to do, and that's this. It's the Denver Broncos hosting the Cleveland Browns. Now, Baker Mayfield walked out on a presser today. Obviously, the truth hurts, but the real truth is he's got 6 touchdowns versus 12 interceptions. And here's a guy, that's going into Denver, and Denver doesn't have Joe Flacco. He's out about 5 to 6 weeks. Why am I bringing this game up? At some point, does Baker Mayfield ever righten the ship up, because they're 2-5 and they're headed they're headed toward a one and done for Freddie Kitchens?
I don't think it'll be a one and done for Freddie Kitchens. It could be. Mayfield. Oh gosh, really? Here's what's I think boggled my mind more than anything in terms of the Browns, and it's Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I get that he is a head case. I get that just drama follows him. And he does not do a very good job of making drama go away. He kind of accepts it and builds on it, unfortunately. That being said, on the field, he has been a disappointment.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I've seen passes hit his hands that he has not come down with the catch. When no one, he's got a defender beat. Whether it's a back shoulder throw or he's going deep, whatever. I've seen so many balls go through his hands that technically weren't drops, but we expect Odell Beckham Jr. to come down with those. We expect it, and so Mayfield. Unfortunately, Mayfield, I want to say about 3 of his 12 interceptions, 2 of them should have been touchdowns that went through defenders' hands in the end zone to be intercepted. So, really, I think Mayfield, will do okay in this game. I think he's still going to get sacked probably. I'll put the over-under at 3.5 for this game in terms of how many times he gets sacked. But really, I think for the Browns, the whole success of the Browns relies on giving the ball to Nick Chubb and just letting him run over people. Right. That's what they do best. That's what allows Mayfield to get things done in the offense, is when they force defenses to suck in and have to cover Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb runs over people anyways, and that's what opens things up for Mayfield to be effective. When they try to go the other way around and try to use the pass game to open up the run game for Chubb still does what he does, but then Baker Mayfield is even worse than people thought that he was in the first place. So in this game, honestly, I think that the Browns probably lose to the Broncos. The only reason I think the Broncos have a fighting chance in this one is because of the fact that their defense could get a couple of takeaways off of Mayfield. The Browns' defense has not been all that great overall. They give up the 10th most amount of points to running backs, so Lindsey and Freeman could be in for huge games. They give up the 12th most amount to quarterbacks, which could allow Brandon Allen to actually have a decent game here in his first start. But I'll probably still give this one to the Broncos over the Browns, even with the rookie quarterback in his first start. So I think I'm going to go. I think it's a low-scoring game. So I'm going to go with the Browns 13-10. The Broncos. Broncos winning 13-10 over the Browns.
Well, you and I do think alike. I was going to go Broncos with 16-13. 16-13. And don't forget the fact that everybody knows that Vic Fangio is a good defensive coach. I just think the Browns are a dysfunctional mess.
They are.
I mean, what else can I say? But I was just curious to throw that one in there. So it will be a Rocky Mountain low for the Cleveland Browns. So I had to get that Rocky Mountain analogy as well. So now we're going to go from a Rocky Mountain low out to the Big Apple, where the Dallas Cowboys have a date with the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. Will Amari Cooper be his old self?
I think think that Amari Cooper can be his own self in this one. Let me actually pull up. That was the one game I actually didn't have up yet. I'm pulling up the. There we go. So Dallas at New York Giants. I think that Amari Cooper could be in for a decent game in this one. The Giants have struggled in basically all aspects of defense this season, and really haven't done much of anything well. Looking at how they've done on defense. The only position they do a good job of stopping up is the tight end, and the Cowboys for the most part use Jason Witten a little bit, but he tends to be more of a decoy. The Giants give up the 9th most amount of points to the quarterback, 11th most to the running back, 3rd most to the wide receivers. So really, the Dallas Cowboys should run all over the New York Giants. That being said, the Cowboys defense. Looking at how they do, they've stopped up quarterbacks well. They've stopped up wide receivers well. They do give up a few points to the tight ends. This could be a decent game for Evan Ingram if as long as Daniel Jones is given the time to dump the ball off to him. And for Saquon Barkley, the Cowboys are kind of middle of the road. But Saquon Barkley, being the talent that he is, could still be in for a solid game. I think that the Cowboys end up winning this game. Overall, I think that probably looking at probably 24-17 Cowboys.
24-17. I'll go 30-17 in favor of the Cowboys.
Alrighty.
I think Cooper finally breaks out, and he breaks out in a big way. So now that we've discussed the games, why don't we give our fans and listeners a preview of what we can expect for your segment on the Sports Exchange tomorrow before we wrap it up.
Well, tomorrow we'll be talking a little bit about some of these games, but for the most part, I'll be talking about it from a daily fantasy point of view. Since we're getting into the weekend, at Skull King Football, we're trying to get more into the daily fantasy advice. So that's more of what we will be discussing. The high profile players that I think are not in the best situations to use your DFS salaries on, guys that I think could be good breakout players, whether you're in season long or using a DFS lineup, a guy that could, people that could come out and have really big games that, are good value plays. And so that's more along the lines of what we will be discussing tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, that puts a wrap on tonight's edition of Fantasy Football with Ryan Skolrud. This is Scott Morganroth here with Ryan Skolrud here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network, inviting you to join us for the Sports Exchange tomorrow, beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And Ryan and I will do this thing every Wednesday to make sure you have all the fantasy news that you need. So, Ryan, go ahead and brag about yourself, about what you just accomplished to the rest of our listeners.
Well, we at Skull King Football, we have been working on building our brand a lot over the last couple of years. When our very first year, doing this, we had about 9,000 hits on the website, which may not seem like much, especially compared to some of the big guys. So if you think about, Roto World and the fantasy footballers and that, but we've had a little bit of a dip the last couple of years, but going into this year, we really pulled out all the stops, and we have been working hard to provide the good information. And because of it, we ended up yesterday crossing over 20,000 hits on the website for the first time, and so that was a big accomplishment for us. So we're very happy with where we are going as a brand for Skull King Football and where we can go from here.
Very good. Well, I'll look forward to the next 20,000. But meanwhile, great show tonight, Ryan, and we'll pick this bad boy up tomorrow here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. Once again, Fantasy Football with Ryan Skolrud, Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Good night, everybody.